Let me ask you something. When you hear the word space, what do you imagine? A rocket launch on TV? Astronauts floating in slow motion? Some distant future that doesn't really affect your life? Because in 2025, something quietly changed. Space stopped being a spectacle and started becoming infrastructure. Not science fiction, not fantasy, but something woven into technology, economics, AI, and even daily human life. This video is not about one rocket, not about one mission. It's about why 2025 may be remembered as the year space went mainstream. We'll talk about why launches are exploding in numbers, how AI is now making decisions in space, why satellites are changing Earth and threatening astrology, how humans are casually going into space, and why an interstellar visitor passing through our solar system matters more than you think. This is not a news recap, this is a big picture story. So let's begin. The launch explosion. In 2025, rockets stopped being rare events, they became routine. Launches are happening so frequently now that many people don't even notice them anymore. That alone tells you something important. For decades, access to space was limited. Governments, national pride, massive budgets, slow timelines. But now, private companies are launching weekly, sometimes daily. And that is not just about bragging rights. The real story is what and why are we launching so much. It's not about flags on the moon anymore, it's about data. Satellites are becoming internet infrastructure, Earth monitoring systems, climate sensors, military assets, navigation grids. Think of space now as the new layer above the internet. In the 1990s, only governments controlled the web. In 2000s, companies took over. And in 2020, that small traction is happening in orbit. Low Earth orbit is becoming crowded because space is closer than ever. Rockets are reusable, costs are lower, and demand is exploding. Space didn't get smaller, Earth did. And that brings us to a serious question: satellites versus the night sky. For the first time in human history, we are changing the appearance of the night sky. Not with pollution from cities, but with objects in our orbits. Mega constellations of satellites are reflecting sunlight, crossing telescope views, and interfering with astronomical observations. This creates a strange paradox. On one hand, satellites bring internet to remote villages, enable disaster response, and improve navigation and support global communication. On the other hand, astronomers are losing clear views of deep space. Long exposure images are sticked with artificial objects. The sky is no longer purely natural. Humanity is facing a question it has never faced before. Who owns the sky? Is it a shared scientific resource, a commercial zone, a military domain, or all of them at once? There are no clear rules yet, and this matters because once orbit is crowded, you can't simply clean it up. Space debris doesn't fall down politely, it stays. 2025 is the year this problem stopped being theoretical. It became real. Humans going to space casually. Not long ago, becoming an astronaut required years of training, military or scientific excellence, extreme selection. In 2025, some people are going to space for minutes. Suborbital space flights are turning space into an experience rather than an achievement. Now let's be clear. These flights don't reach orbits, they don't build colonies, they don't explore Mars, but culturally, they change everything. Because once humans see space as something you can visit, it stops being sacred, it starts being accessible. This is exactly what happened with air travel. At first, dangerous, rare, only for elites. Then, normal, commercial, and taken for granted. Space is entering the same psychological transition, and when that happens, investment flows, talent flows, innovation accelerates. Space becomes less about heroism and more about systems. What leads us directly to the most important force reshaping space right now: artificial intelligence. AI takes control of space. Here's a reality most people don't realize. Space is too far, too slow, and too complex for humans to control everything manually. Signals take minutes to travel, conditions change rapidly, environments are unpredictable. That's where AI comes in. In 2025, AI is no longer just analyzing space data, it's making decisions. Autonomous systems are now planning rover paths, avoiding hazards, optimizing energy usage, scheduling scientific tasks. This is a major shift. Previously, humans command machines and then result. Now, humans goal giving to AI, AI make decisions and the result. Why does this matter? Because once AI can operate independently in space, exploration scales dramatically. You don't need thousands of controllers on Earth. You don't need consult human input. You deploy intelligence and let it adapt. This is the foundation for lunar bases, deep space probes, asteroid mining, long duration missions. AI is becoming the first true space worker, not a tool, not a participant. And this raises a philosophical question: if intelligence can act beyond Earth, where does humanity actually end? The interstellar visitor. Now let's zoom out, way out. In 2025, astronomers are tracking a rare object passing through our solar system, not from our sun, but another star system. Only a handful of such objects have ever been observed. Think about that. The object formed around another star in another system, possibly billions of years ago, and is now passing through our neighborhood. This is not about aliens, it's about context. For most of history, humanity believed Earth was the center, then the sun, then our galaxy. Each time we were wrong. Interstellar visitors remind us that our solar system is not isolated, not special, not closed. We are part of a cosmic flow. Material moves between stars, systems interact. The universe is not static. In a time where humans are arguing over borders on Earth, the universe quietly reminds us how small those borders are. Space becomes an economy. Here's the final shift. Space is no longer just exploration, it's economics. Companies are already planning orbit manufacturing, space based data processing, energy collection, infrastructure beyond Earth. Why? Because space offers constant solar energy, unique microgravity conditions, isolation, global coverage. In the long term, space may host factories, servers, power systems, not because it's cool, but because it's efficient. 2025 is the year that idea stopped sounding crazy and started sounding inevitable. Why 2025 matters? So why does 2025 matter? Because space stopped being far away. It entered technology, AI, economics, culture, daily life. We crossed the psychological boundary. Space is no longer just where we look, it's where we build. And the choices we make now about regulation, ethics, access, and responsibility will shape the next century. Not just the space exploration, but of humanity itself. If you had to choose what excites you the most about space right now: AI, human missions, interstellar space, or the future economy beyond Earth, let me know. Because the space age didn't begin in 1969, it quietly went mainstream in 2025. Everyone, if you like this video, please subscribe and like the video.